Latticer. Thanks for joining us and talking today about keeping your sales sold. And what I mean by that is that in marketing and in sales, oftentimes we have great solutions to offer, great opportunities, but we want to make sure that we have the ability to deliver the content and deliver things that we want to our prospects. So I want to talk to you today about that and talk about some common mistakes I think people make, and most importantly, how to solve those problems from the get-go. One of the biggest mistakes I think everybody makes is you create good rapport with somebody, and then we assume that all of our prospects are able to buy from us at any time. I think that comes from a selfish failure to understand that our customers have buying cycles, that maybe they have a want for our products, but we fail to find where that fits in their needs. So that failure to understand their buying cycle. Maybe they can only make these kind of expenditures at the beginning of a fiscal year. Maybe they're waiting for the beginning of the calendar year, perhaps the beginning of the quarter, or maybe they need terms or financing or other financial consideration to help facilitate the sales process there. One of the other common mistakes I think entrepreneurs make is we assume that that person we're talking to is in fact always the ultimate decision maker. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard of sales going south because somebody went in, they pitched, they did the proposal, they did everything, and what happened was their contact actually had to go do their job for them. Their contact actually was the one selling the product, and the decision maker didn't have the information or wasn't able to come to a decision. So don't ever assume that your contact is in fact the ultimate decision maker. However, the challenge there is a lot of people, they want to say, oh yeah, I can do this. I can pull the string. I can make this happen. So understand the hierarchy of an organization, their purchasing process, their management structure, how terms or bids work. And sometimes there's even hidden decision makers. For example, if you're dealing with a solopreneur, you don't know that who's that solopreneur going to go home and talk to? Maybe their spouse, maybe somebody that they know, or maybe a business partner. Maybe somebody might be the key person in a certain part of the business, but they have somebody else they have to bounce it off of. So that's why I say to you, always assume that there's other people involved in the process and always ask questions around that part of the process. One of the things, common sales mistakes I think people make is that we project our and their enthusiasm and trust as an urgency to buy. Really, if you like somebody and you create great rapport and the ability to work with them, we take that as a buying signal. That might just be that we're getting along. Customers will play poker with us. They will sit there and they will make us jump through hoops. They'll ask questions, but they'll be fully enthusiastic and really want us to feel like we're going forward in their ways. One thing account managers do, which I don't agree with, is we assume our proposals, our products, and our services are their top of mind priority. We think that our customers are, oh my God, that proposal's sticking up on their desk. It's got a little red flag waving and telling them that, you know, we need to make a decision. We need to make a decision. We don't understand that making that decision is a part of their daily process. We put a lot more emotions, and we think that they're sitting there looking at the proposal, taunting us with it. And instead, they have the administrative or the primary functions of their business to execute as well. We also often mistake professionalism and courtesy as buying signals because it's pretty much human nature. We want to spend our time with people who like us rather than deal with somebody who might be a little more confrontational, but could possibly buy from us. So prospects can treat us well, but never spend a cent with us. The other sales mistake I think a lot of people make is we get so distracted, we fail to prospect. Prospecting is really an everyday task, especially if our organization is small or if it's our job to find opportunities and fulfill them. It's rare that you have an opportunity as an account manager or sales professional or a marketing professional to just service orders. Drug reps like to think they do that, but if you think about it, doctors are retiring and doctors are coming into practices, so that ability to have that trust, you can't just sit there and say, okay, I'm going to assume this suite of buildings or this geography or whatever is mine. Instead, always be prospecting, always be cold calling, always be researching. Oftentimes, smaller solopreneurs see the end of a project or a series of events, and only then they say, well, we're going to have to get some stuff in the pipeline. We need to crank up the prospecting machine. I need to attend some networking events. Prospecting and awareness is always an ongoing activity, and any account manager, business professional needs to be receptive to the opportunities. The number one thing that surveys tell us over and over again, that number one mistake that people make when it comes to sales, is we flat out don't ask for the order. We assume that we have to be kind of sneaky or deceitful in our closes, and we won't come out and ask questions that will identify if this is what our prospect wants, is it what they need, is it what they're interested in purchasing. And then once we do have them sold, one of the things which we assume, we're blindly loyal, and they're not going to shop, they're not going to talk to other people, or sometimes not even need any account management from us, that they know where we are and that business is fine and we don't have to stay in communication with them. People who've bought from us in the past are our best future products. They like what we sell, they trust us, there's an ability to use us in the future. I really think drilling down is such a key way to increase people's use of products and services with us. Now, I believe the key to all marketing and communications is skill with questions. So let me ask you, here is some questions that I want you to know, and I want to feel free to, if you want to email me at dladisser08@gmail.com or contact me via social media where you first learned about this. Here's some standard questions and even some magic questions that keep your sales sold. I'll give you an example of some of them. Number one, great question to ask is, how does your purchasing process work? Do I need to have a purchase order? Do I need to have a formal bill? Do I need to have, what do I need to do to interface with your process? I've seen many salespeople have to wait for commissions. I've seen many businesses go long on payment terms because they assume that their customers buy the way that they sell. So ask questions about how their purchasing process works. Do you have an AP person, a bookkeeper, somebody who's going to be my liaison? It's easy to say when you expect to be paid. Some people expect to be paid at the close of the sale. Some people are looking for terms. So I think it's a great question. How do you remit? Our standard terms are, say, net 15. If I give you an invoice, I expect to be paid within 2 weeks on it, or I expect to be paid in 30 days. So what are your standard terms? So that's a fair question to ask. Companies like yours, they often purchase based upon budgets, such as the beginning of a quarter or the start of a fiscal year. Tell me more how your company operates. I talked about this earlier, and it's so important. How does your company operate? Here's a key question that takes a little bit of self-esteem for somebody to ask. Are you the only person who has to sign off on this? Why? That way you know if you're just selling somebody or if you're just talking to them or if they're actually able to make a decision. And it's a fair question to ask somebody. Don't worry about hurting their feelings. Worry about whether you've talked to the person who can say yes or no. Another great question. Do I need any sort of internal routing or accounting numbers or codes? Is there a vendor number I need to have? Do I need to put in an application? What do I need to make sure that I interface with your accounts payable people? And that is key because I know a person who was working for a large industrial firm and had to wait 60 days longer than he needed to because He kept just putting his invoices in the hands of his decision maker. He kept emailing PDFs, and the PDFs of the statements did not have a tracking number on it, didn't have an accounting or a client number on it. And it took 60 days longer to get paid than as if that person had asked, do I need any sort of internal routing or accounting codes? Of course, other questions. Here's an easy one. When would you like to take delivery? Because we assume that people are going to need this now. What happens if they have to bleed an inventory? What happens if they're using it for an initiative that's starting later? Why do we get caught up in the towel of now? So when is it you want to take delivery of this? Other people, if you have a technical sale, whose input is necessary before we get started? You may be talking to the purchasing agent, you may talk to the general manager, but what happens if there's somebody like a foreman or a crew chief, a leader, who is also part of this process? Here's another one that I like, a good question. When you talk to your fellow employees or coworkers about this, what sort of details are you going to tell them? That way you find out what part of your message they're excited about. What are you looking most forward to once you put this program into place? Oftentimes, again, that's repeating the value of the solution that you've put in place for them. Change there. I think that looks a little bit better. Here's a couple of other questions I want you to think about. How do you see this helping your company? How do you see this making a difference in your organization? How are you going to promote what we're doing to your customers? Are you helping something to be new and improved? Is there cross-promotion going to be involved? What can you do to promote this to your customers? Are you authorized by the corporation to make this kind of a purchase of this level or scope? Certain employees have caps on them, or certain employees have certain restrictions on their ability to buy. So that's important to know if you're authorized or not, if you're dealing with a decision maker. Again, now that you've heard the benefits of moving forward, is there anything else which would prevent you from doing so? Here's another great qualifying question. So we can develop and agree to an accurate implementation timeline. When would you like for this to start? One of my favorite questions here. Do you need to look at finance options, or would you like a discount for cash in full? And here's a quick idea on that. If you write bids for people, take your best price bid, multiply it times like a factor, like 1.15, 1.2. That way you've built some margin into it. And if you say to somebody, you know what? If you need to finance it, it's this, and we can spread it over this number of payments. Or what we can do is offer you a discount for cash in full at the close of the sale. 2 questions left on this. Number 1, is there any reason why you wouldn't feel comfortable using my product or service or working with me at this time? That kind of gets them to maybe confide some of the creepy factor in there. Is there something that, yeah, Dean, this sounds too good to be true, or no, I don't really. And then final powerful question, I think, I want to start scheduling my resources, ordering supplies. When should I contact my vendors? And using these types of questions, you want to engage their process. You want them to open up and show you behind the curtain. Because the key to that is the ability to know going in and have as much information, because there's nothing worse than scrambling to get answers, to deal with decision makers, and to be able to talk to people, because you want to eliminate hassles and eliminate problems by knowing as much as you can. Because that power is empowerment. It's the ability to get the answers you're looking for from your customers and take them back to whatever it is you sell or whatever it is you market. To have that understanding is so critical. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I appreciate you stopping in today. My name's Dean Ladouceur. Feel free to check out my website, deanlad08.com. On there is a free download of an audio presentation I recently did, and I'm going to be putting another one up of a different presentation in 2 weeks. We've just finished the post-production on that. So if you're watching, keep watching. Feel free to join the sign-up list there at DeanLad08. And most importantly, I'm looking forward to sharing frontline experience and wisdom with you on your sales, your marketing, and your communications.